A storm's devastation, unraveling the impact on western Alaska. The remnants of Typhoon Halong unleashed chaos on the western Alaska village of Kwigillingok on October 16, 2025, uprooting homes and scattering debris. This powerful storm left residents bereft of their boats, off-road vehicles, and snowmobiles, some of which were found miles away. But this is just the beginning of the story. The night of October 11th. A coastal assault. In the late hours of October 11th, Alaska's southwest coast bore the brunt of Typhoon Halong's fury. The storm brought hurricane-force winds and unprecedented flooding to numerous Alaska Native villages, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Evacuees and rescuers described a grim scene. Utility poles snapped, boardwalks uprooted, and homes floating away, some with families still inside. A region in crisis, displacement and loss. The impact was profound, with over 1,000 people displaced, many with no homes to return to. The tragedy deepened with the discovery of a woman's body and the ongoing search for 2 missing family members. Alaska's Emergency Operations Center is at its highest emergency response level, and Governor Mike Dunleavy has requested federal disaster aid for the region. The Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, a vast, vulnerable area. The Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta, an area the size of Oregon, hundreds of miles from the US road system, was severely affected. The coastal villages of Kipnuk and Kwigillingok were particularly hard hit, leading to mass evacuations. Regional health officials reported substantial damage in over a dozen villages, and nearly 50 villages reported some impact. The full extent of the damage is still being assessed, and the number of permanently displaced residents remains uncertain. Evacuations, a challenging journey. Initially, many displaced residents sought shelter in schools, but strained resources made this untenable. Evacuations to Bethel, the regional hub, began, but the emergency shelter soon reached capacity. Within days, residents were being flown to Anchorage, 400 air miles away. The remoteness of the area complicated evacuations, with damaged runways requiring helicopter rescues in some villages. A community's deep roots, the dilemma of relocation. For many residents, leaving their ancestral lands is emotionally challenging. The villages of the Kuskokwim Delta hold deep historical significance for generations of Yupik people. Some residents, despite the destruction, are reluctant to leave, as they rely on subsistence hunting for food. The loss of ancestral grave sites further complicates the decision to relocate. The storm's unpredictable path. A climate expert's perspective. Climate models initially showed the typhoon remnant tracking north, but Rick Toman, an Alaska climate specialist, explains that the storm suddenly accelerated and shifted toward the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta coast. This unexpected change left little time for evacuation preparations. Climate change's role, a vulnerable landscape. The region is at the forefront of climate change, with permafrost thawing beneath many villages, causing rapid erosion and instability. The Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium predicts that nearly 150 communities in Alaska, many in the YK Delta, will need to relocate due to permafrost thaw and other climate-related factors. The low-lying tundra and unstable foundations of many homes and buildings exacerbate the vulnerability to storm damage and flooding. Rebuilding, a daunting task. The road to recovery is challenging. Rebuilding is logistically complex and expensive. Given the remote locations of these villages, donations have poured in, coordinated by volunteers, but the region is still recovering from major flooding in August 2024, which led to a federal disaster declaration for Kipnuk. The road ahead, resilience and uncertainty. As the region grapples with the aftermath, questions linger. Will communities choose to rebuild? How will they overcome the logistical challenges? And what does the future hold for these vulnerable villages in the face of climate change? The answers remain uncertain, but the resilience of the residents and the support of volunteers offer a glimmer of hope in the midst of this devastating storm's aftermath. And here's a thought to ponder. Could this storm be a harbinger of more frequent and severe weather events in the region? And what does it mean for the future of these indigenous communities? Share your insights and join the conversation below.